Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig, and of course, this is Florida's longest-running radio show, the Steve Kane Show on the radio since 1977, celebrating, as crazy as this sounds, 49 years on the radio this year. Can you believe it? I know, it's crazy. And a lot of you have been around. Some, believe it or not, some people in this audience have been around all 49 of those years. Okay, we got a lot to cover. We had a great weekend with President Trump, and this week is just going to be incredibly exciting. Now, of course, on Friday, we had the great summit in Alaska with President Trump and Putin, which was just historic and spectacular. And he came out of there with, looks like an end to the war. Today, Trump is meeting with Zelensky, with all the top European allies. And then the White House said Saturday that they are planning a follow-up summit with Trump, Zelensky, and Putin together, the three of them, as early as Friday. So things are going very well. The war is all but over. And it looks like there's been a very reasonable peace proposal from Putin. And it really just blows my mind how openly upset the liberals are and the press at the idea that a war is going to end. Oops, sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to turn the ringer on. I don't know why I turned the ringer on, but the ringer's on. Let me turn the ringer down. If you're on hold, stand by. The summit in Alaska was perfect. It went as well as you could imagine. And when Trump came out there with Putin at the end for that press conference, they never intended to take questions. Never. Even before the meeting, they did not intend to take questions. And the media were very angry, including that Jackie, whatever her name is, from Fox News, who's a real creep, isn't she? She really came out of the closet as a Trump hater. And the reason that the media were so upset is they had been rehearsing their one line that they were gonna bark at Putin so that they could go viral. Every one of them wanted an opportunity to call him a killer or a war criminal and do it in a way that they were going to be the viral moment that everybody in the world was talking about. And when they didn't get that opportunity, they just went nuts and they lost it live on the air. In particular, that Jackie lunatic over at Fox. I don't like her anymore. She's married to this Republican congressman from Pennsylvania. She's part of the establishment now, and she's part of that ruling deep state Republican establishment, permanent Washington class, self-appointed elite that think they're better than Donald Trump. And now that this summit happened and they showed their anger, I mean, why should President Trump have taken questions with Putin, with these monsters from the media? What would have come out of that? Here you have a war where thousands of people are dying every week. It's getting really to some desperate situations. We've seen the reports that Ukraine are taking people 60 years of age and older and Down syndrome sufferers into the army to fight. Russia's taken such heavy losses that they're taking soldiers from North Korea. So there are North Korean soldiers fighting for Russia in Ukraine. I don't know if they're wearing North Korean uniforms or Russian uniforms, but they're not there by choice. They're North Korean. So we've got, I mean, it really shows you how desperate this war has gotten, that it's getting really bad. Russia is the second most powerful country in the world. We're the most powerful country. So you've got the second most powerful country involved in a long-standing war here. The other side is being backed, armed, and supplied and funded by the most powerful country in the world, the United States. If this war is not ended, eventually something's going to happen, and you are going to have the Third World War. There's no doubt about it. The weapons that we're sending to Ukraine are incredibly high-tech weapons, computerized weapons. The language on these computers is English, not Ukrainian. So we most definitely have U.S. military personnel in Ukraine that are probably operating a lot of this high-tech equipment, but certainly on the front lines showing the Ukrainians how to do it, because these Ukrainians, they don't speak English, read English. They're Ukrainian, right? They speak and read Ukrainian, so they can't even operate a lot of the high-tech computer equipment. So it's only a matter of time before a tragic accident happens in this war and a whole bunch of American service personnel are killed. Or some rocket from Ukraine, a U.S. rocket or something, launches into Russia and takes out a church during Sunday Mass and kills a couple hundred civilians, including children. Or some Russian rocket goes off course and does the same thing in Poland and kills a bunch of civilians. It's amazing and an absolute miracle that this war has not escalated already to a crazy level. As bad as it is, it's been contained. But you're not going to be able to keep it contained forever. It's got to be ended. And we're getting some of the details of the Putin proposal to President Trump. And one of them is to keep this Donbass region that they're occupying that they took. So the left and the media, who are just fuming that President Trump's ending another war. I got to turn down the ring. I don't know why the ringer's on. I hit the wrong button there. I got to turn that ringer down. I'll figure it out, guys, at some point. Right before I went on the air, I was adjusting the phone and dropped it, and I grabbed it. And when I grabbed it, I hit a bunch of buttons with my hand, and I've turned a lot of things on. That's why you're hearing that. I'll figure it out at some point. But I've got bigger fish to fry right now. Okay. So what's going on with, looks like, okay, good. I got the ringer off. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get to the calls in just a bit. So it's an absolute miracle that the war has not escalated. That's certain. But this open hostility that it's ending is crazy to me, by a bunch of people that aren't risking anything, sitting around in Washington, sitting in an air-conditioned TV studio, who are whining, oh, you can't give them Donbass. Who cares about the Donbass region? Who cares? Who cares about any of it? Here's the thing. No matter what peace agreement Trump comes up with, even if they got to keep all of Ukraine, the left, the never-Trumpers, and the media are going to tell you that it's a bad deal, okay? So it doesn't matter what they say. That's why Trump didn't have a press conference with it where he took questions for him and Putin, because it's a waste of time. It's a waste of effort. The other thing is this. There's going to be a peace deal. The war will end. But no matter what the end is, and no matter what deal is achieved, there are always going to be conflicts and troubles. Okay? It's always going to be that way. There's always going to be skirmishes and conflicts between Russia and Ukraine forever. It's going to be like Israel and the Palestinians. There'll be periods of peace, but it's always going to be on edge. That's just the way it is. Okay? This is a war. When President Trump says this war wouldn't have started if I was president. That is so true. Even Putin agrees with that. But this war was started by Joe Biden directly, in many ways more so than Putin. And everyone knows this. And this war was started by Biden continually pushing to have Ukraine become a member nation of NATO when Putin has been saying no. So we went in to take Ukraine so they could not join NATO. You can't have them joining NATO. If you allow Ukraine to join NATO, which President Trump has come out against yesterday on True Social, if you allow them to become a member state of NATO, you will have the Third World War. And Biden caused this war directly, maybe on purpose. And a lot of people are dying. Now, these sickos on the left and in the media who have no empathy for the Ukrainians, the Russians, or the North Koreans that are dying in this war. And there's a lot of civilians, too. There's a lot of civilian death going on. They just don't care. They just don't care. They don't want Trump to get a win. Trump might gain a percentage point on some Gallup poll, and all these people that are dying, oh, well, if we can't have Trump up in the polls. That's how they think. Now, we're going to take our first break of the week. I do want to hear your thoughts on this. We got a lot to cover on the program today. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Big announcement from MyPillow. The MyPillow towels are, let me check here because I just looked a little while ago. Let's make sure. Yes, the MyPillow towels are back in stock. The 6-piece MyPillow towel sets were out of stock for a while. The MyPillow towels are back in stock. Normal price is $69.98, just $39.98 with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, at MyPillow.com. And it is free shipping on all orders that equal $100 or more. So if you get yourself 3 sets, which you should, you'll get free shipping. They have a whole bunch of new colors in. I dry off with these towels every morning when I get out of the shower. These are the best towels you've ever used in your life. They make great gifts as well. Start doing your Christmas shopping. Do it early. Get your 6-piece MyPillow towel set for just $39.98, plus free shipping on orders of $100 or more with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE. All right, it's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. We got a lot to cover. Okay. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay. We'll be back in a little less than 2 minutes. Yeah, guys, if you want to join us on our cruise, make sure you do it. 561-244-5779. You can see, if you're watching there on YouTube, you can see this is a video of one of our cruises. We had a great time. That was a couple of cruises ago. What a great day that was. That was a tour of the rum factory. We just have a great time. This is when we went into these incredible caves in the side of a mountain. It was like a sauna in there. Then we took a sunset cruise and had a beautiful time with that. Look at that. See the sunset cruise? What a great time. Great food. And we're going to have a great time this time. We're going to Antigua, Nassau, and the Virgin Islands. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot and join us. A little less than a minute, and we'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. Okay, now you may have seen this very bizarre video that Comey put out about Taylor Swift and Trump. It's a very strange video. Let me play some of it, and I've got some suspicions about it I want to run by you. This is when and I'll say this. When I first saw this video, I thought it was like fake, like AI. Because I thought there is no way that someone like him would be putting out something like this. All right, listen.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to my Substack. Last week's cold turns out to have been COVID. Quite a flashback. And Donald Trump is still president and still humiliating America on a national stage, standing next to Vladimir Putin. It's like a dream, a bad dream you can't wake up from. But I don't want to talk about that bad dream this week. I want to talk about a truly inspirational public figure named Taylor Swift.
Okay. So here goes Comey talking about Taylor Swift, which is just very strange.
Of course, I watched her podcast interview with the Kelsey brothers. Of course, I watched the whole thing, although on YouTube, Patrice and I got kicked off for the last 15 minutes and finished it on her phone. But I watched it. You see, Taylor Swift and I go way back. I went to my first concert of hers 15 years ago. I've been to a second, and I have helped financially support the attendance of a lot of family members at others. I'm in a family's Swiftie group chat.
Oh my goodness.
I know all her music, and I listen to it in my headphones when I cut the grass.
Okay. Now I'll play more. This is 5.5 minutes of him going on about Taylor Swift. I'm going to play more of it in a minute. So I had a couple of thoughts about this, and I'll throw this out to you. My first thought was, as I said, this was fake AI. There's no way. And then after I watched it, I said, no, this is Comey. So my second thought was that he's going for an insanity defense on his treason indictments that are about to come down from the Pam Bondi grand jury. And I'm like, no, it can't be that. He's too much of an arrogant narcissist to think something like that. And then I thought this. Is he sending out some type of coded message? What I mean is, he knows, I'm not kidding about this. Comey knows that he and his co-conspirators are all under surveillance. Clapper, Brennan, Clapper, Brennan, Obama, Loretta Lynch, they're all under surveillance. And the list goes on. His friend that was giving the information to the New York Times. So he can't have conversations on the phone or text or anyway, because he's being surveilled. He knows for a fact they all are by the FBI because these indictments are coming down. And I am as serious as a heart attack about this. Is this some type of secret coded message that Comey is sending out to his co-conspirators? What do you guys I am so serious about that. Our number is 888-465-2631. It's very strange.
So yes, I have a favorite of hers, although honestly for me it's a tie between All Too Well, 10-minute version, and Exile featuring Bon Iver. Taylor Swift has grown up with my family and provided us a soundtrack, really, as we've grown ourselves and learned and adapted and dealt with adversity and celebration.
See, you know, I couldn't tell you the name of a single Taylor Swift song at all. I just couldn't do it. I don't really have any interest in her music. I don't know any of her music. And what I have found, you know, when I was young, like when I was in high school and middle school, I was very into music. MTV was new. And I remember thinking at the time, I was always going to be up to date on the latest music. And then what I realized as you grow up, that you tend to like for your entire life, you tend to stick with the music that you grew up with, right? For me, it's mostly 80s and 90s. I like 90s, you know. And the stuff I listen to mostly, I'm not even going to tell you guys because you'd laugh at me. But I do, you know, that's it. I don't listen to the new stuff. Is this a coded message that Comey is sending to his co-conspirators? I think it is. And some of these songs have bizarre names he's saying that he's throwing out there. I believe this is most definitely a communication with his co-conspirators.
She had songs for all of it. I suspect that's something that millions of Americans have also experienced in their families. I think that's because Taylor Swift produces great art, but also because she models something. At every stage of her career, she's shown a certain way of being that resonated with my kids.
Oh my
and
goodness.
Also felt right to me as a parent. And she's still doing that as a grown-up. Like a lot of you, I struggle with how to stand up to bullies without letting their meanness infect me and change me.
The Trump.
You may have seen that the governor of California has been generating a lot of attention lately by posting on social media in a satirical way where he mocks Donald Trump and his all-caps megalomania and his absurdity. And I find it very funny. Hilarious, even sometimes. But I gotta be honest, it also leaves me with a strange feeling at times because I don't want us to become like Trump and his followers.
He wants us to be like Taylor Swift.
There are far more decent, honest, kind people in America than there are mean jerks. And don't get me wrong, we have our jerks, millions of them, you may have noticed. In particular, there's a stunning coarseness and ugliness in the Republican Party today.
Yeah.
It's upsetting, but it's also a minority of America.
Really? We just won the national election, Comey, if you haven't noticed.
On the whole, we aren't like that, and we don't like that. I think that's a big part of the reason so few Americans support Donald Trump when they have to see him and that up close. And why Republicans are so worried about what's coming for them next year.
What's coming
And to be
for us?
clear, I am not an advocate for weakness. Of course we need to stand up to jerks and defend what matters. But I think we have to try to do that without becoming like them.
You know, and this is, you know, and if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll get to the calls after the bottom of the hour break. This is written. This is not off the top of his head like I'm doing now. I don't have anything written down. Everything's on the top of my head. That's why I lean to a coded message to his co-conspirators. It's too insane and weird, and it's written.
Which is what makes me think about Taylor Swift. She's made clear that she sees Donald Trump for what he is. And last year, she urged Americans not to make the serious mistake of electing him. Of course, we're now living with the consequences of that mistake. But while our elderly, makeup-covered president is posting about whether Taylor Swift is,
By the way, Comey's, 64, 65?
still hot and declaring that he can't stand her, what's she doing? Living her best life. Producing great music and, as she urged all of us to do during the podcast, not giving the jerks power over her mind. She said something about dealing with internet trolls that stuck with me.
See, this is just bizarre. Well, anyway, if you're on hold, you hang in there. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. I do want to hear your thoughts on Comey. Is this legit? Is he going for an insanity defense? Is this a coded message to his co-conspirators that he knows now are under FBI surveillance and he's communicating with his co-conspirators through this coded video? Our number, and if you're on hold, you're welcome to call in about anything involving the great summit that's happening today at the White House, as well as the Alaska summit with Putin and Trump on Friday. Our number is toll-free 1-888-465-2631. Toll-free call no matter where you're listening. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. What do you guys think? Is it crazy to think that this is a coded message? Do you agree with me on that or not? I want to tell you guys about Chapter. If you are 65 years of age or older or turning 65 soon, Medicare, that's your insurance, right? You want to call Chapter. No matter which one of the states you're in, they cover the entire United States. And when you call the number that's on your screen, which is also in the description of the video, you're going to get a real live person from Chapter. In just a few minutes, they'll answer whatever questions you have about your Medicare. You know, there's over 24,000 Medicare policies in the United States. And Chapter, because they're a nationwide company, have access to every single one of them. So they'll make sure that you're on the right policy for your budget, for your health, for your situation. If you're already on the right policy, they'll let you know that too. The average chapter client saves over $1,100 a year on their Medicare. So not only can you save a lot of money, you can also get benefits you're entitled to that you may be missing out on now because you're on the wrong plan. Give Chapter a call again. Whatever state you are in, they can help you. 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. You'll get a real person on the phone, and they'll help you with all your questions, and it's 100% free. There's no catches, no gimmicks, nothing. It is free. The whole thing's free. 805-754-3033. Give them a call. If you're on hold, you're welcome to, hang in there. And if you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. We'll be back in about 30 seconds. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? All right, we are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We'll take a call or two. I got so much to cover. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Sorry for the echo. Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is David. I'm from Canada currently, but I just wanted to let you know Putin didn't agree with anything with Trump. And he's also a pedophile, a rapist, a fucking loser.
Okay, there we go. First call of the day, first dump of the week. First call of the week, actually, and first dump. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. What a nice guy from Canada. I tell you. You're a disgrace to your... when you... and this is just me, okay? But again, I'm an American, not a Canadian. When I'm in another country... or I'm in an audience that has a lot of people in other countries, I view myself as someone who's representing our country, and I behave like a gentleman. I don't go around acting like some bottom feeder scumbucket like that guy from Canada, because you're a reflection of your insignificant, pathetic country, and you don't make Canada look all that good when you talk that way. But hey. Maybe that's how all Canadians are. I understand, if you're from an insignificant country that's not a player in the world. Now, before I get back to Ukraine, this great operation in D.C. to clean up crime is going to spread to other blue cities around America. There's no doubt about it. They've arrested over 200 criminals in Washington, D.C., and a lot of them are pretty brutal, and crime is already down because there's such a heavy police presence and military presence on the street that the criminals aren't coming out. And wherever Democrats run a city, you've got a city filled with crime. Sunday morning, my daughter flew out to California early yesterday morning. And I had to drop her off at the airport at about 4:30 in the morning. And she flew out of Fort Lauderdale. And you guys that follow me on YouTube, which you all should do, Brian Craig Show on YouTube, I do live streams on Saturday and Sunday mornings, sometimes from my studio, sometimes out and about. And I thought, well, I got to drop my daughter off at 4:30 in the morning at the airport in Fort Lauderdale. I'm going to do a live stream from Fort Lauderdale Beach. So I go over to Fort Lauderdale Beach. It's 5 o'clock. You can park there legally at 5 o'clock. And I parked in that parking lot by Bahia Mar, that big public parking lot there. And I parked the car and got my phone, got my camera and everything else. And I started walking to, it's 5 a.m. Sunday morning, to live stream. And I was going to live stream the great sunrise from the beautiful Fort Lauderdale Beach. It was terrifying. I was there less than 10 minutes. And I said, this is stupid. This is crazy. This is dangerous. I'm going to get mugged out here. I'm watching these homeless people walk around, and it's like, it literally is The Walking Dead. There's a lot of drunks walking around too, but there's a lot of homeless people walking around. Some of them are sleeping on the walls around the beach. Some of them are sleeping on the sidewalk, leaned up against the walls. They got a lot of garbage with them. And I was like, there's no way. This is not safe. This is crazy. So I got back in my car and came home. Fort Lauderdale's run by Democrats, gay Democrats. It's run by Democrats. And like these other blue cities, they have homeless and weirdos and scary people walking the streets. That's a tourist area. The hotels on the beach are filled with tourists. And you know what? A lot of those guys get up early in the morning, go have some coffee, walk around. If I were out of town, if I was in Fort Lauderdale with my family staying on the beach over there, and Fort Lauderdale, I believe, has the best beach in all of Florida. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. I love that beach. Okay? If I was from Michigan, Pennsylvania, somewhere, and I'm visiting with my family and I saw that, I'd never come back to Florida. What is this fetish that Democrats have for criminals and homeless people? What is wrong with them? What is wrong with them? And I'll tell you, those of you down there in that Fort Lauderdale Beach area, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And there were a lot of drunkards down there too, on top of the homeless people. I remember those days, back in the 80s, I used to cruise the Fort Lauderdale Beach, Fort Lauderdale Strip with my friends when we were in high school and stuff. Cops didn't put up with that. You didn't have homeless people walking around, and you didn't have public intoxication at 5 a.m. They'd run you off and send you home. Make you pour out your booze first, and then in the parking lot, or in the ocean, and then you'd go home. What's going on? What is this? What is it with Democrats? No matter where the Democrats run, you've got crime and homeless everywhere. All right, let's take some calls. Let's see if we can elevate from the first call from Canada, although it's not saying much to elevate from that. You are on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. It's Fred from Coral Springs. How you doing?
All right, Coral Springs. What's on your mind?
Well, real quickly, because I'm walking and the noise is starting to pick up. Just to let you know, since you're talking about this creep Comey, this ties in perfectly. I was up on iTunes yesterday, and there's the number one song in the country right now is "The Devil is a Democrat."
Oh.
And it's absolutely hilarious. It's a rap song, but it's number one on all formats. Mm-hmm. And there's a video out there, too, and you really need to see it. It's
I'll check it out.
9 o'clock.
I'll check it out. All right. Appreciate the heads up from Coral Springs. All right, I'll check it out. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning, Brian.
Hey, Richie.
Richie, and there's no cursing here. I'm going to go over real quick, so I got to get it in. Okay, they had a big protest in front of the White House for the crackdown on the crime in Washington.
Yeah.
And Washington is predominantly black, yet all the protesters, if you looked at it, they were all white, being paid. So that's number. I want to get that through right away.
Yeah.
Now this Ukraine deal, okay? President Trump is the greatest president of all time. This is going to be our greatest week. A war is going to come to an end. I was in Vietnam. I seen people die And let me tell you something. He is saving people. These people up in Washington, I watched Meet the Press right after Marco Rubio destroyed them, okay? They put that creep from Connecticut, that senator, I forgot his name, but he come on there, and in other words, Trump gave them everything, and he didn't do it.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing about it is, when I saw the, because you watched the summit meeting, right, on Friday, I'm sure?
Absolutely. The greatest thing was...
there was never a point. See, I knew they had a deal because I watched the interview that President Trump did with Bret Baier on Air Force One. And he said, if he's not serious, he says, I'll either come out to the press by myself without him, or I'll just get on the plane and leave. When he came out with Putin, right, I knew they had some type of deal. President Trump never intended on letting these fake news people bark questions trying to go viral. And that Jackie, whatever her name is, she's the worst. Yeah, she's just like that lowlife on CNN without the lips.
Yeah, well, all three channels yesterday attacked Trump, especially that Brennan on CBS. But Marco Rubio stood his ground and made him look like fools. But the guy from Connecticut, okay, he's saying that President Trump is giving everything to Putin.
Is this the stolen? Are you talking about stolen valor, Blumenthal, that said he was a Vietnam veteran, and then we found out that he wasn't?
The young one. That interview with him was disgusting. I mean, let me tell you.
Chris Murphy? Was it Chris Murphy?
Yeah, Chris Murphy, and he's disgusting. He's totally anti-Trump, and it was awful that he tried to. In other words, let me ask everyone that's thinking differently, all you Democrats, what would we do if Mexico on our border partnered up with China, and China came in here with all their rockets and everything on our border? What would we do? Would we say anything about that?
Well, listen. What's going on here with? I don't defend Putin. What happened on Friday is all these lowlives in the media thought that they were going to get a question to bark at Putin and call him a murderer or a war criminal and get famous. And President Trump didn't give them that opportunity. So what did they do? They lashed out like a bunch of scumbuckets, especially that witch from Fox News. I used to like her, and we got to see her, and that Jackie girl from Fox. What we got to see is she was pissed off because she thought she was going to have some big moment that they would rerun all weekend long, and we got to see her true personality, and she's a nasty, sick, twisted, Trump-hating, low-life scumbucket. And by the way, if you're going to plaster your face with makeup like that, do your neck, too. It looks like you're wearing a mask. Who taught her how to do makeup? What is she, 6? She's, you know what I'm talking about?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They all felt like that because the fact that President Trump didn't give them a chance, and they, at the end of that summit, they knew nothing more than we did. So why did they all go? They all went there to attack. They actually were going to attack Putin. What are you doing? Why did you kill all these people?
Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
And Trump. Why is Trump cuddling up next to Putin?
Yeah.
The big thing is Trump gave him legitimacy on the world stage. Marco Rubio put that away.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, Marco, he's already on the world stage, you jerks. I mean,
these people are sick.
For people to get upset that a war's going to end, this war between Russia and Ukraine is so much worse. I was talking earlier. The Russians, they're using North Korean soldiers now. They've lost so many.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, and those guys are probably being kidnapped from North Korea to go there. The Ukrainians are using senior citizens and children on their front lines. Some of them have Down syndrome that they're using. I mean, come on. This is a war it's gotten very desperate, and it's basically a stalemate, like the First World War. It's got to be ended.
Yeah. So, what's the end game? More money being dumped in there, and Europe opening up their mouth. Enough is enough is enough. We've lost a lot of money here. We've lost lives, human beings, not the United States, but those people on both sides. President Trump is a humanitarian. He's doing the right thing. Nobody else could do what he's done here. And they're so sour grapes in their mouth. They're all sour grapes. It's so incredible to watch this. I mean, greatest week we're going to have.
Some people are saying, well, if he wasn't going to take questions, why did he bring the press? They're there to observe and report, not go there and try to pull a stunt to go famous on TikTok or something by asking, "You're a murderer! You're a war criminal! I'm sorry. Go back to your Republican establishment fiance, Jackie. What a bunch of monsters."
Yeah, you get crazy. Well, listen, real quick. Putin was in a suit and tie with respect. What did you see Zelensky when he was at the
All right,
White
Richie,
House?
I'm gonna run. But if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to remind you guys, order while you can. The MyPillow towels are back in stock. They were out for a while because they're so incredibly popular. And you can get the MyPillow towels for as low as $39.98 with our promo code Kane. That's a $30 discount. $39.98. The MyPillow towels back in stock. And also, it's still free shipping on orders that are $100 or more with our promo code Kane at checkout, okay? So the MyPillow towels are in stock. They have a whole bunch of new colors, a $30 discount, regular price $69.98, just $39.98 right now with our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, and free shipping on orders that equal $100 or more. All right, callers on hold, stand by. We'll take our last break of the first hour and be right back. Holy smokes. Lost track of, okay. We'll be back in about a minute, guys. All right, we are back. I'm Brian. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, man. Do you guys agree, though, about how the press reacted really in a sicko way? No doubt about it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike, what's up?
You know, these presidents all are looking especially in the second terms for legacy. The great President Trump is creating his own legacy.
Yep, that's true.
Think about it.
That's true.
He's giving us peace.
Mm-hmm.
He's giving us peace. He's giving us a good economy. And by the end of this thing, he's going to probably give us back our justice system.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that's true. He's doing a great job. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Mm-hmm. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes.
Hello?
Yeah, turn down the volume in the background.
Okay, I'm calling from Canada. I apologize for everything that happened with that first caller, because that's definitely not Canada. Canada is rooting for Tamara and Big Red in Ottawa getting charged for mischief.
Okay.
They face about 8 years in jail.
All right. So
And,
so that earlier
President Trump
see what I mean about this when you're from another when I'm in another country, I am on my best behavior. And when
for sure.
because you're representing your country, and that jerk that called earlier.
I really do apologize, my friend. I really do apologize. As a fellow Canadian, when I saw what happened in Washington, D.C., all of Canada applauded with what went on there. Our little town in Nanaimo just went from a safe little place that we used to hang around with and drag strip. It was like American Graffiti. It was, love that show.
Yeah.
And it went from that to a dangerous place to go. People don't go downtown because it's like where you go.
It's
in
run
the
by
beach
liberals.
We're talking about.
You don't have Democrats, but you have liberals.
It's a liberal city here. It's not.
You know, it's a funny thing you say that, because I was talking about the Fort Lauderdale Beach, which they made movies about. It was like American Graffiti, and now it's a bunch of zombies walking around. I was really scared, and that's where I grew up. And I'm a local. I shouldn't be scared walking down our tourist location.
Policies that are in place is happening all across Canada.
What is it with liberals?
The liberal policies of the liberal government has driven Canada into a state of zombieism.
But why do liberals? Why do liberals, no matter where they are, right? Canada, America, no matter what is it about liberals that has them just this fetish they have towards criminals? I don't understand it.
It's crazy. A lady got charged in British Columbia, Canada, as a nurse for not calling the right gender.
What do you mean charged? Like
and
arrested?
She got fired from her job.
Like arrested?
No, like she got charged in courts for a huge amount of money. A gentleman got charged for walking in the woods in Newfoundland for over $80,000 by the government. It's gone crazy up here.
Yeah, they're out of control. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call, and Canada's honor has been restored on this program. If you're on hold, stand by. So today is a big day. We had the Great Summit in Alaska on Friday, which went perfectly. That's why it was so short. It went perfectly. And today Zelensky's coming with these European leaders, and I've got the schedule here. Here's the president's schedule. It's going to start at noon. The European leaders will arrive at the White House. Do you think that Zelensky is going to be wearing a suit or that ridiculous costume that he wears? So at 12 noon, European leaders, this is the president's schedule, European leaders arrive to the White House. At 1 p.m., the president greets the president. That's Donald John Trump. Thank you very much. The president greets the president of Ukraine. At 1:15, the president participates in a bilateral meeting with the president of Ukraine in the Oval Office with the White House press pool. So we'll get some questions there. That's at 1:15. At 2:15, the president greets European leaders in the state dining room. This is closed to the press. At 2:30, the president participates in a family photo with the European leaders. At 3 p.m., the president participates in a multilateral meeting with European leaders in the East Room, and the press will be there at 3 p.m. So we have got a huge day of events, and this is something to celebrate, right? This really is something to celebrate, and we're at the verge of ending another European war, but the speed at which it's happening. The president meets with Putin on Friday. On Monday, all of this. We could have the final summit by the end of the week. And you could hear the anger from the liberals in the press. The Sunday shows, I'm going to play some clips later on from the Sunday shows, but you could hear this. The people on the Sunday shows were just consumed with rage that President Trump is ending this war. Why would you be against that? With the death, forget about the destruction of property, the death of people and the desperation that both sides are now facing. That's why they're using such weird groups of people to fight on both sides, because they've gone through their first, second, third, fourth line of soldiers. They're both getting desperate for personnel. To be against ending this war, you have to be a sadistic person that thinks like a serial killer. You're like that punk that just got sent to prison for killing those college kids. You have no empathy for others. All you care about is yourself, and yourself, you are obsessed with your hatred of this great president, Donald Trump. And I challenge any of you to tell me what's wrong with this peace agreement so far as it's been presented so far by the president and from the White House. What's wrong with it? Why? Give me a good reason that you're opposed to it. And I watch the Sunday shows. I don't think any of them can do that. Now, I want to tell you, we got lucky with this hurricane that just is going up through the Atlantic. But, yeah, lucky this time. Who knows if we'll be lucky or unlucky next time. If you've got a wet spot on your ceiling, you've got a leak in your roof. And if you're in the state of Florida, I'm going to give you Tom Laporta's cell phone number in just a moment. He covers both the east and west coast of Florida. You want to write down this number even if you don't have a wet spot on your ceiling, because when the storm hits, you want to call Tom Laporta. You know, Tom Laporta, he's not just a roofer. He is a contractor. And as a general contractor under Florida law, he is allowed to deal directly with your insurance company for the cost of the repair or the replacement of your roof, which speeds things up a lot, especially when you really need it after a storm hits and you have damage. You call Tom. If a storm hits and you have damage, you call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing. He's got everything you need to get you through until the repairs begin. The blue tarps and all that stuff, he'll take care of all that for you. The number I give you is his cell phone number. Now, his website is LaportaRoofing.com, and there's a number at LaportaRoofing.com that you're welcome to call, but that's not Tom Laporta's cell phone. If you want to get the owner of the company directly, call or text 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug. What's up?
I just saying how great Marco Rubio looked the other day, correcting. Man, he's doing a great job. The whole administration. We've never had an administration like this. Everybody is top notch. Everything's fantastic.
Absolutely.
You know, and now, who is Hillary Clinton thinks she's going to nominate him if he gets a peace deal? I don't know.
Well,
Hillary Clinton was
you know, everyone is
pick it
saying
up.
this. Hillary and Brennan, you know, is backing her up. Everyone's saying that it shows how afraid they are of going to prison for their treason. So they think that Trump has a fragile ego. So if they suck up to him, he won't put them in prison. That's what they think.
Yeah. When she said she wants to nominate, I said, well, if that's the case, then I'll nominate President Trump for the Peace Award. But anybody should be able to do it. You know, and now already the liberals are picking on a new subject. After this, they know that it's going to be the end of a war, so they have to pick out something. So now they're complaining about that Trump made money during warp speed. And for the COVID thing, so I already put that down to rest with one liberal.
Yeah, they have a lot of fantasies.
They always have something new they have to find out to be able to complain. These people, they've never seen nothing like it, man.
I've never seen the American left and the American media so angry when a war was ending.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Right?
It's totally unbelievable.
You know, and I know people will say,
man,
well, they gave Reagan a hard time. Reagan wasn't ending a hot war. He was ending the Cold War. There's a hot war where people are dying every day. I've never seen this happen before, and it makes no sense. Appreciate the call. Yeah, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our top of the hour break. Our number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you are listening, 888-465-2631. We've had some pretty good calls so far. Hopefully we can keep this going. You're welcome to call in about anything involving the Ukraine war. I'm going to get to some of the audio sound bites after the break, and there's some other issues to speak on as well. But this is going to be one of the most exciting weeks. We'll take our break for the top and be right back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Don't go anywhere. If you're on hold, guys, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the toll-free number is pinned in the chat, all right?
Hey, let me ask you something. What do you do when the system runs out of answers? When the doctors say there's nothing more we can do, but deep down you feel like the story isn't over? What if illness isn't the end of your story, but the beginning of a deeper one? Out of the Fire, from author Mark Dixon, is a powerful true story of a woman's resilience, reflection, and awakening after 20 years of MS. It's not about quick fixes. It's about what happens when you finally start listening to your body. If you've ever felt dismissed or overlooked, this book is for you. Get Out of the Fire, available now on Amazon.
Okay, we'll be back in just over about 90 seconds, guys. Stand by. Hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Marco Rubio, I want to play some of this of Marco Rubio with Margaret Brennan over the weekend. You know, Margaret Brennan, she's a big Trump hater. She's married to a Muslim Syrian guy. She's very liberal. She's real sicko too, Margaret Brennan. Marco Rubio's so good, isn't he? I mean, he is really just so good. And I like that he's a Floridian, too. And I would really like Marco Rubio to be the second MAGA president. I know, people just assume, well, JD, they're both good, but I like Marco Rubio. Don't you guys? Oh, yeah. Who would you rather be at the top of the ticket? Marco Rubio or JD Vance? Who do you think should be the second MAGA president? Listen to that. They're both good. But I like Marco. Here's, if you're on hold, hang in there. This is Marco Rubio with Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation. What a creep she is.
Doesn't this set a dangerous precedent that the United States now accepts this concept that it is okay to seize land by force?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. You know, It's mighty white of her, sitting there in Washington, D.C. in some fancy air-conditioned studio. You know, we can't give them this land. What are you giving? What do you do? What are you sacrificing? What are you risking? There are people dying every day, Brennan. What a lowlife she is.
Well, Putin's already seized land by force, and that in and of itself is not a positive precedent. This whole war
Are you
is
demanding a withdrawal?
Precedent. Well, again, in order to have a deal here to reach the end of this conflict, both sides are going to have to make concessions. That's just a fact.
Does that mean
in any
accepting
negotiation,
where Russian forces are?
But this is not about acceptance. This is about what Ukraine can accept and what Russia can accept. They both have to accept it. Otherwise, there won't be a peace deal. Okay? If there aren't concessions, if one side gets everything they want, that's called surrender. That's called the end of the war through surrender. And that's not what we're close to doing, because neither side here is on the verge of surrender or anything close to it. So in order for there to be a peace deal, this is just a fact. We may not like it. It may not be pleasant. It may be distasteful. But in order for there to be an end of the war, there are things Russia wants that it cannot get, and there are things Ukraine wants that it's not going to get.
Isn't he awesome, Marco Rubio? He's come a long way. I love this guy. I would love him to be the second MAGA president. Wouldn't you? Absolutely. He's so brilliant, and he's up against this vile, low-life, fake news journalist.
Both sides are going to have to give up something in order to get to the table, in order to make this happen. That's just the way it is. And I mean, the sooner we accept that, that's the reality. Now, what those things are is going to be up to both sides. There's no conditions that can be imposed on Ukraine. They're going to have to accept things, but they're going to have to get things too. And so, for example, Ukraine is a sovereign country. They have a right, like every sovereign country does in the world, to enter into security alliances with other countries to prevent an invasion in the future, to prevent threats to their national security. That's not an unreasonable request. That's something that needs to be worked on. Territories will have to be discussed. It's just a fact. And there are things that maybe Russia's holding now that they're going to have to give up. Who knows? The point is, we need to create a scenario where that becomes possible. And that's why this has been so hard, because neither side up to now has been willing to give on some of these things. But we'll see if that's possible. It may not be, but we're going to try, and we're going to do everything we can to try to achieve a peace.
Yeah, exactly. The media, they're just vile. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, this is Maddie.
Hey, Maddie.
Brian, I have to tell you something. You could be a real comedian. I'm laying here in bed. I have a very bad back. And I'm watching you, and I'm watching Comey, and your remarks are so spot on, and they are so hilarious, and you're doing it with a straight face. Honestly, you really made my day. You really did. As far as Comey goes, I agree with you. I think he's sending messages, but they're apparent. I mean, they're not even secret. They're so stupid.
It's weird. It seems like the FBI, it seems like a lot of their leadership, like J. Edgar Hoover, is some gay old man's fraternity, doesn't it? I mean, what kind of grown man in his 60s is a Taylor Swift fan? No, I think he's sending coded message to his co-conspirators. I really believe that. I'm not trying to be funny with that. He's sending messages.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. He's a jerk. Remember the message he sent in the sand? And then he said, I don't know, I just came across the numbers.
See, the thing about this is what I think happened. I believe Comey did the thing with the shells in the sand, or the rocks in the sand. He thought he was under surveillance, and he got picked up on he did something to trigger a response to see if he was being monitored. That's what I think he did. I really do. And he wanted to see if he was being tailed, if he was being listened in on. This guy, believe me, he's dealing with literal spies like Brennan. And I think they did it on purpose. The whole thing.
I know, but everything he does is so obvious. I mean, it's not even some secret thing.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody could see what he's doing.
But this thing with the Taylor Swift message, because I've heard other people. I listened to them early this morning talking about it on Fox, and everybody else is just laughing at him. And I thought when I saw that it was real and not AI, because my first thought was it was AI. When I saw it was real and not AI, my first thought was he's sending coded messages to his co-conspirators. It seems so obvious. And nobody else has picked up on that, at least not yet. It just really blew my mind. It's too weird of a thing for him to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's also very stupid. I mean, it doesn't even make any sense because everybody sees it. And as you say, there's no doubt it's a coded message, no doubt. But anyway, with Trump, the guy is just so great. He's trying to keep peace. He's trying to get peace. He's trying to stop all these people from being killed. I don't understand these Democrats. Well, they're not Democrats. They're communists. That's it.
Yeah, and, listen, I agree with you. Yeah, I'm no spy person or anything, but my guess would be, I mean, I don't know, if I'm not a code breaker, but Comey, if he's communicating with his co-conspirators because he can't talk on the phone or email or text right now, he mentioned a bunch of Taylor Swift songs. And I'm guessing the message he's sending has something to do with the lyrics in that song. Like if you took the lyrics of those songs that he mentioned and then used their code key, you could probably get the message he was sending if you had their code key. I know that sounds nuts. But you're talking,
I mean, come on. I don't know. I've never even heard her. I don't really care about her at all.
I know who she is.
I don't know any of her songs.
I know who she is.
I'm sure you're correct.
All right, Maddie. Take care. Appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean, I'd sort of like to hear your thoughts on that. I really do. It seems so obvious. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. It's Craig from Winter Garden.
Hey, Craig. What's up?
This whole Russia-Ukraine war thing, the media is against it. They are now, absolutely. They're against it. They hate it because things are going, it's going to be a good thing. I think, and I could be wrong, it's just what I'm going to throw out there. I think after Friday, when President Trump gets everything done, it's going to be a great thing. And they know the whole world is going to be in agreement with the good thing happening. They're going to flip the media. They're going to flip into a 180, and they're going to agree. They're going to say, oh, man, what a great thing. The war ended. But they're going to give Zelensky all the credit for it. Mm-hmm. They'll say, like, he gave up, what was that, Crimea, whatever.
Well, Crimea's gone. I mean, that's gone. They took that like 10 or 12 years ago.
Okay, well, whatever that area is, the Dunbar region or something, they're going to give that. He'll give that up, give him all the credit, and they'll give President Trump zero credit. In fact, they're going to say that this good thing happened in spite of President Trump's meddling and mismanagement of it. That's what I think is going to happen.
You know what? I bet you they give Zelensky the Nobel Peace Prize after this.
Oh, absolutely. That's
not
what I'm
Trump.
Saying. If I ever wake up one day and breaking news, whatever, and the media is all over the place saying President Trump did a great thing on this one certain policy, I'm going to stop and say, whoa, President Trump, what did you just do? Did you do something wrong? That's what I'm saying.
No, I think you're right.
It. I just want to throw that out there.
You make some good points. Appreciate the call. All right, from Winter Garden. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. Democrats are in big trouble. Here's CNN going over the latest polls.
Democrats at this point are historically divided. It is a complete and utter mess. It is messier than a hoarder's basement. What are we talking about here?
Messier than a hoarder's basement. Oh, wow, they're getting all country over here on CNN.
It is messier than a hoarder's basement. What are we talking about here? The national early poll leader, 25% plus. Normally, that's where Democrats are. Biden was at 25% plus in 2020. Hillary Clinton was in 08 and 16. Gore was in 00 and 04. At this particular point, there is no one in the Democratic race for president who's polling at 25% plus. The water is quite warm. If you're a Democrat potentially thinking about running in 2028, jump right in, because at this point, there is no front runner.
Is that, what do you think? Is that because how people view the Democratic Party right now, is that contributing to this?
Yeah, I think that is in large part of what's going on, is one of the reasons why there is no front runner. Nobody wants to put anybody up at the top of their ballot list, is because at this particular point, the Democratic brand is in the basement. It is total and complete garbage in the mind of the American public. The Democratic Party's net favorable rating, record lows in all three. Wall Street Journal, 30 points underwater. CNN, 26 points underwater. Gallup, 26 points underwater. And that is being driven in large part by discontent within the Democratic base. The Democratic base wants something different. We'll ultimately end up seeing who they choose. It'll be quite the thing who ultimately gets the rose.
Oh, boy, the Democrats, they're done. They got nothing. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. You know, here we are in hurricane season. You don't want to be out driving on wet roads with bald tires. I used to do that before I found Friendly Tire in Margate. I was driving on tires well past the time I should be, because tires can be expensive. Not at Friendly Tire in Margate. At Friendly Tire in Margate, you can get brand new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $75 a tire. And by the way, brand new, as low as $75 a tire, and that size is for some of the most common cars that are on the road today. And when I say out the door and on the road, remember, Friendly Tire does not charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or dispose of your old tires. So the price that Friendly Mike gives you over the phone, that's the out the door and on the road price. Okay, you can get every type of tire you want for any type of vehicle, all the name brands you know and love, run flats as well. If you have a Tesla car, he's got the special tools, great tires on those. He has thousands of used tires in stock that are very good used tires at even lower prices. And he also does tire repairs. Give Friendly Tire a call, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. We'll be right back.
Hey, let me ask you something. What do you do when the system runs out of answers? When the doctors say there's nothing more we can do, but deep down you feel like the story isn't over? What if illness isn't the end of your story, but the beginning of a deeper one? Out of the Fire, from author Mark Dixon, is a powerful true story of a woman's resilience, reflection, and awakening after 20 years of MS. It's not about quick fixes. It's about what happens when you finally start listening to your body. If you've ever felt dismissed or overlooked, this book is for you. Get Out of the Fire, available now on Amazon. We'll be back in about a minute, guys. Less than a minute. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Dave from Phoenix.
Yeah, Dave.
I just wanted to say, first off, I'm very proud of President Trump and the entire MAGA community, because we were on this to undermine him from day one. And as far as John Brennan's concerned, fleeing to Austria, he must understand, being former intelligence, that we have an extradition agreement with Austria.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of surprised he didn't take off to an island in like the South Pacific.
Well, I haven't got any confirmation on that. Roger Stone said that last week about Brennan. I haven't heard anybody else say it, so I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I've read a couple articles on it, but I don't. The fact that got leaked, I'm pretty confident he is. But
yeah,
I'm just curious what his next move is. But anyway, I just want to say, great show. And just a reminder to liberals.
Well, it's not about if he's in before you finish. Okay, while we may have an extradition agreement with Austria, it puts some time between when the indictment comes out and when they pick him up. If you're here, you get that no-knock warrant. You don't know till they come to the house. If he's in Austria, it buys him time to get to a place where there's not extradition.
We'll see. But I'm sure he understands what's coming down the pipeline here.
Yep. All right.
I appreciate everything, Brian.
All right. Appreciate the call. Take care. We've had some pretty good callers today. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number is 888-465-2631. Okay, so then Marco Rubio went over to this Martha Raddatz and all these people, but he decided to put her on TV. Ugh, it's pretty scary looking. You'd think people that look like her, when they came in with the 4K high definition, would have found a non-visual medium.
Critics of President Trump will say the pomp and circumstance, the red carpet, the warm handshake, that President Trump simply lost that Putin gained there just by being on the world stage.
Yeah, so says the Trump haters, right? All the Trump haters think that Trump lost he had the stealth bomber and everything fly over, had our most advanced fighter jets on the runway. Did you notice that President Trump's red carpet was wider than Putin's red carpet? But these haters are going to hate. So they see Putin winning the PR move. Not at all. But anyway, back to Raddatz with Rubio here.
Critics of President Trump will say the pomp and circumstance, the red carpet, the warm handshake, that President Trump simply lost that Putin gained there just by being on the world stage and walking down a red carpet with the president. Your reaction to that?
Well, I mean, critics of President Trump are always going to find something to criticize. You don't even pay attention to it anymore. But I will tell you this. Putin is already on the world stage. He's already on the world stage. The guy's conducting a full-scale war in Ukraine. He's already on the world stage. He has the world's largest tactical nuclear arsenal in the world and the second largest strategic nuclear arsenal in the world. He's already on the world stage. When I hear people say that, it elevates him. Well, all we do is talk about Putin all the time. All the media's done is talk about Putin all the time for the last 4 or 5 years. That doesn't mean he's right about the war. That doesn't mean he's justified about the war. Put all that aside. It means you're not going to have a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine. You're not going to end a war between Russia and Ukraine without dealing with Putin. That's just common sense. I shouldn't even have to say it. So people can say whatever they want. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we have to get the Russian side to agree to things that they don't want to agree to if we're going to have peace. If not, there'll just be a war. They'll keep killing each other. And life will go on in America and in the rest of the world, but not for Ukraine. So the president has invested a lot of time in trying to bring an end to this war. He deserves credit for doing that. He gets criticism for doing that. He could have just let this war go on. The president could have just said, this is Biden's war. It started under him. We'll do what we can for Ukraine, but we're going to focus on other things. He could have easily said that. But he's the only leader in the world that can get Putin to a...
Just a final point. You hate Trump and you want to say... Exactly. How do you win the war if you don't meet with Putin? I tell you guys often, hate is this emotion that just is overwhelming. Now, if President Trump ends this war, Roger Stone listed the wars. Listen to this. President Trump has ended... This will be... let me see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6... This will be like the 7th or 8th conflict that President Trump has ended, right? Roger Stone posted this on Truth Social. President Trump stopped the war between India and Pakistan. Those are two nuclear powers. We got a ceasefire with Israel and Iran, Serbia and Kosovo. Trump got involved there, stopped it. Congo and Rwanda, Thailand and Cambodia. They had a fighting going on. That's over. That's 5. Armenia and Azerbaijan, I can't even pronounce that. I didn't even know some of these wars were going on. Got Saudi Arabia, Syria, and Lebanon to sign on to the Abraham Accord. So he's ended 6 wars, 6 conflicts, are in different stages of peace. This will be the 7th. When have we ever had a president on the global stage has done so much? And by the way, why is there so much conflict in the world? It's because we had this weakling with the auto pen running the country the last 4 years. That's why. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Roger, Oklahoma.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, Roger.
I was just curious.
Here we
as
go.
Why,
what is it? Now, before you get into your curiosities, you know what's wrong with you with your little snickering and your weird voice and everything? I mean, come on.
That really hurts my man. That really hurts my feelings.
Oh,
that wasn't very nice of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll just have to live with that.
Yes.
Anyways, we go. I was just curious as to why your thumbnail says that the war is over with an AI image of Trump, Putin, and Ukraine and Zelensky.
It is all but over. We got President Trump. By the way, hold on a second. If the war is over with Ukraine and Russia, that's a good thing, right? You agree with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Certainly, but it's
Trump,
not over. You're supposed to be.
I know you're rooting for it. I know you're rooting for it. Trump.
No.
Excuse me.
What has indicated that? Okay.
Your arrogant tone. President Trump had a great summit meeting with Putin in Alaska on Friday. They laid out the structure of a peace, right? Today at the White House, Zelensky is going to be there with the top European leaders with the president to go over it. The White House said that they want to have the final summit as early as Friday with Putin, Zelensky, and President Trump. It's over in all but the signatures.
Do you think that, like, a reputable news organization, when they think that the war is probably going to end, they run a headline that says the war is over?
Well, I'm not a news organization.
You're a news show.
I'm an editorialist.
Don't you want to be? Shouldn't you be credible?
I will never be credible to you because you hate Trump.
Well, I haven't said anything about my politics. I just talked about your.
Listen, I've talked to tens of thousands of people on the phones over the years, and as soon as I heard the first syllable out of your mouth, I know a lot about you, including that you're a liberal who hates Trump.
Don't judge a book by its cover.
I'm not judging by the cover. I'm judging by your voice, your tone, your accent.
Okay, well,
your
I'm not
arrogance.
actually a book. I don't actually have a book's cover.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, you have a cover that I can see right through.
Good one. That's a good one.
What's the matter? See, didn't I tell you guys this guy's a liberal? Why do you really tell me the real reason you don't like Trump?
When do you think Trump will end the Ukraine war?
Certainly,
2 weeks.
Certainly,
weeks,
you must be very excited. We have the first openly gay senior cabinet person with the Treasury Secretary. You know, I mean, he's very
talented. That's entirely unrelated.
Oh, it's very related. What is it? What is your? I've answered your questions. Tell us why you really don't like Trump. What's your real beef with Trump?
I mean, a lot of reasons. I think
Give the biggest.
I think that these ICE crackdowns most recently are separating a lot of families and deporting. Like, he deported that one college student explicitly for her political views. Marco Rubio said that she came here to be a student, not an activist. That's pretty
they break up families. You know, if you went into any American prison, right? And excuse me, I'm responding to the stupidity. I'm responding to the stupidity that you just uttered about breaking up families.
That's so mean.
Mm-hmm. If you went into any American maximum security prison, you would find
I'm sorry, how did we get to this topic? I don't care about this. I want to talk about your thumbnail.
I'm host. I decide as the host of the program. I decide what the topics are.
Good night, buddy.
Good night. It's 7:28 a.m. Is Oklahoma on Central or Mountain? Good night. It's like 6:28 a.m. where he's at, and he's saying good night. He's getting scared. I'll finish my thought without him. You go to any maximum security prison where there's guys doing long stretches, maybe even life. Most of them are fathers. When people do crime, you don't say, well, they can get away with a crime because they have a family. What kind of defense is that? So if you're here illegally and you get deported, hey, the family doesn't have to break up. The Trump administration is offering to take the entire family back to the country of origin. Families that are broken up over the deportations are doing it by choice. If you're on hold, stand by. Oh, I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I'm so excited about Coastal Weight Loss Secret because I've lost so much weight thanks to Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I was on television again over the weekend, national TV. Did any of you guys see me on TV over the weekend? I know a lot of you did because my DMs were blowing up. And a lot of people were commenting on my weight loss. And a lot of what I heard from people were, wow, your face does have a lot more definition. You do have a chiseled jaw. You have your neck back. You look years younger, Brian. You really have lost so much weight. I'm hearing this over and over again from listeners in my DMs and everything. And thank you so much. And yeah, and not only am I a lot thinner, I feel great too because I have more energy since I'm not carrying all that weight around. I got more confidence and did it all without exercise, eating foods I would normally eat, and no prescription medications, no pills, no injections, nothing. Give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. They can help you no matter where you are located. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. Now, can you hear how upset these callers are? These liberals are that the war is ending? It's over? They want to keep it going. We'll be right back. Now, guys, I want to tell you about, Chapter and your Medicare. If you are a Medicare recipient, listen up. No matter what state you're in, Chapter can help you with your Medicare questions, and they'll help you for free. No matter what state you're in, you can call Chapter. The number is not only on the screen, it's also in the description of the video. I'm going to give it out to you in just a moment. Okay? And Chapter, since they cover all 50 states, they have access to all the Medicare policies nationwide. There's over 24,000 of them. The help they offer you is completely free. There's no strings, no catches. It will cost you nothing. When you call this number, you're going to get a real person on the phone. In just a few short minutes, they'll answer all of your questions. The average Chapter client saves over $1,100 a year on their Medicare. So not only can you save big money, over $1,100 a year on average, but you can gain access to benefits you're missing out on that you are entitled to. So give them a call, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033 for Chapter. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, guys. We'll be back in just over a minute. Yeah, that last caller had some issues, didn't he? All they need is the line that is dotted to be signed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can even hear with the callers. I mean, they're so upset that the war's ending. What a bunch of weirdos. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Could you not hear that last caller who said goodnight here first thing in the morning? It's one of those zombies that I saw on Fort Lauderdale Beach yesterday morning. Hear how triggered he is, like other liberals, at the thought that this war is going to end? I want to play you this audio. This is really ugly. It's Joy Reid. She's got an online program now. She's talking about white people. This is the most racist person that has a platform in this country today, that has a platform. This is Joy Reid talking about white people. Listen.
They can't fix the history they did.
They are white people.
They can't fix the history they did. Their ancestors made this country into a slave hell. But they can clean it up now because they got the Smithsonian. They can get rid of all the slavery stuff. They got PragerU. They can lie about the history to the children. They can't originally invent anything more than they ever were able to invent good music. We black folk gave y'all country music, hip hop, R&B, jazz, rock and roll. They couldn't even invent that, but they have to call a white man the king because they couldn't make rock and roll. So they have to stamp the king on a man whose main song was stolen from an overweight black woman.
Oh, my goodness. Talking about Elvis Presley. Oh, my goodness. I mean, that is ugly, isn't it, Joy Reid? That is just she is consumed with her racism. It's really sad. She's like Ed Norton in American History X, but the races are reversed. She's not a stable person. So listen to this. I went to Starbucks over the weekend, and if you go to Starbucks, I go to Starbucks every day. I mean, you guys know I'm addicted to I'm drinking Starbucks right now. Starbucks, they have, if you go to any Starbucks, they have like a container to put tips in, cash tips in. And I never have cash. Very rarely do I have cash. And if I do, it's not the denomination that you want to leave for a tip. And you can tip on the app, which I just recently learned about. It may be new on the app. I did not know that you could tip on the Starbucks app. Excuse me, guys. I'm sorry. I'm so choked up that white people can't do anything. According to Joy Reid, white people have invented nothing, developed nothing. It was all the slaves did everything. Space program, the wheel, settling the West, the wagon trains. It was all black people. White people have done nothing. Nope, that's it. Just sipping mint juleps all day. But anyway, I go into Starbucks, and I just had recently seen that you can tip on the app, which I had no idea. And the Starbucks that I go to, I'm undercover MAGA. I don't wear my MAGA hat when I go into Starbucks because the other Starbucks in the neighborhood, they found out about me, and then the coffee sucks. They give me decaf and stuff. So I'm undercover MAGA. But I just saw that you could tip on the app. And again, I don't know if it's always been there or not, but I just found it on the app. Maybe it's an update. So the manager's taking my order. This was on, I think it was it was Saturday. So I asked him about it. I said, if I tip on the app, does it go to the people that worked on this shift? Okay? Because I wanted to make sure, because I go at the same time every day, so I want to make sure that my tip is going to them. And he told me how the tips work at Starbucks. Then I told him something. He said that if you tip in cash, that they collect the cash for the whole week and then divide it among the employees. And I don't know what formula they use. Maybe they do it by full-time and part-time, get a different share. But the cash tips they keep for the entire week at Starbucks. And then at the end of the week, they divide them among the staff. And then he said, if I tip on the app, it goes right to that shift, as opposed to the till for the whole week. And he says, of course, after we collect all, he said this to me. He said, of course, whether it's the app or the cash, what we get, they still have to take out taxes and all that stuff, he says to me. And I said, no. I said, there's no tax on tips anymore. He says, really? I said, yeah, no tax on tips. He says, that passed? I said, yeah. This was the manager of the Starbucks. He had no idea that that there were no tax on tips anymore. He knew it had been talked about, but he didn't know that it passed. And I was shocked. Now, I understand that not everybody follows the news like I do, okay, and you do. So I understand that. However, if I was somebody who earned tips, I would have been keeping tabs on that story. So he had no idea. So, these are great conversations to have, because you're spreading I just spread the goodness of Trump and every great thing that he's doing to people that probably are liberal, that had no idea. And I may have sparked a conversation among the employees there after I left that, we don't have to pay tax on tips anymore, without outing myself as MAGA. And those are good conversations to have, and let people know that are because I don't follow, there's a lot of things that you follow that I don't follow. We all follow the news if you're listening to me. But people that are, younger, this guy wasn't young either. He was in his 30s, which is young, still, but he should. I was just shocked that he had no idea there's no tax on tips anymore. So it's important to let people know this so they can appreciate Trump a little bit more, because a guy like this, the chances are, because of where he works, probably is not a very big Trump fan. And it's good to let people know what good Trump is doing for them, even if they don't. Now, I played this in the first hour. I got a lot of stuff to share. But I want to, let me pull this up again, because I wanted to I might have to do it after I'm going to have to do it after the break, I think. Yeah, I'm going to have to pull it up after the break. Okay, but I'll get to something else, because I got a lot of stuff here. There was one soundbite I played in the first hour I can't find that I want to play again, but I'll look it up during the break. Yeah, well, you want to spread the good word about Trump. Yeah, absolutely. And I bet you everybody in my Starbucks now knows that they're not getting taxed on tips anymore because of President Trump, in spite of these Democrats. One of the people that I really despise in the news, although I don't talk about him too much, is Michael Smirkanish. And what I don't like about this guy is his arrogance. He's one of those broadcasters that becomes aroused at the sound of their own voice, thinks every utterance, every syllable is brilliant political commentary. And he also thinks he's superior to others, and that he actually believes he's nonpartisan. He's not a Republican or a Democrat. He's, give me a break. But anyway, this is Smirkanish talking about everything that's going on with the president over the last few days.
If, in fact, he brokers a peace agreement between Ukraine and Russia, one that does not sell out Ukraine, then yes, I'm with Secretary Clinton. And
okay. So, notice, so they've set up a scenario where they're praising Trump, but they've set up a standard they'll never agree with. If Ukraine doesn't have to sell out.
One that does not sell out Ukraine, then yes, I'm with Secretary Clinton, and I'd nominate him for the Nobel Peace Prize. This is today's poll question at Smirkanish.com. Put it up on the screen. Make sure you're going and casting your ballot on this. If President Trump brokers a peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine that Ukraine finds acceptable, I was very careful to put that in the question. I didn't just say, should he get a Nobel Peace Prize? First of all, they've got to resolve the war, and Ukraine has to find it acceptable. And frankly, I don't know how you'd vote no on that. I don't know how. I'm prepared. Let me just say this. I proved this to you last week on air when I covered my eyes and Catherine asked me to predict, what's the outcome of the poll. You learned a couple of things. I don't cheat on these things. I really don't know what the results are. I anticipate that President Trump is going to come out on the losing end of this stick when we come back with the results in just a few minutes. But I don't get it. I truly don't get it.
Because your audience are a bunch of Trump derangement suffering lunatics, Smearconish. You know what Smearconish is doing here? He's trying to get an interview with Trump on his pathetic show. So he's saying good things about Trump and with a slight at the same time to try to get an interview. I hope Trump doesn't talk to this ball-headed cue ball. He's a jerk. He got famous because he interviewed Obama and he endorsed Obama. He was a Republican who endorsed Obama. That's how he became famous, Smearconish. So now he's trying to, he's kind of, nobody pays much attention to him, so he's trying to get a Trump interview, so maybe he'll be relevant and get some attention. But all these liberals following Hillary Clinton, he should get the Nobel Peace Prize if this with Ukraine. They're setting up a standard that they'll never agree with. They'll never agree it was a good deal. Now, I want to tell you about the free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's. If you've not taken advantage of this, give them a call and take advantage of it. It's a great thing to have. I have this. It's part of the security at the radio station as well. And you can get a doorbell camera that connects to your cell phone for free with the installation of your Slomin's Shield. Slomin's is also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you get a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin's Shield. Here's the number, toll-free, 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. 833-283-5050. We'll be right back.
Look what water weight does to your body. Number one, stop drinking too much water. People often...
It was just very unusual.
Hey, everybody.
Hello? You there? I can't hear you very well. No, let me hang up and call you back. Hold on. Okay. Are you there, Steve?
Yes, I'm
okay,
here.
I got you now. Okay, stand by. I got 30 seconds. All right, we are back. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Steve Kane joining us. Hey, Steve.
Good morning.
Oh, man, we're getting close. The war's all but over.
We're getting close to what? That's the question.
The end of war in Europe, VE Day.
It would be very nice, but I'm afraid it's not going to happen. You're much more optimistic, which is fine. I mean, I wish I was more
What are you talking
sanguine
about?
it, but I'm not.
What are you talking? He's got President Trump today. I got this.
Well, have we gotten any? First, let me just do a little test here. Have we gotten anything so far?
Yeah, they're telling us. I've got the president's schedule, which I'm going to go through in a minute, but they're telling us what the deal so far is from Russia.
Well, so tell me a couple things we got.
Well, we're not in the war, so we're not getting anything. Ukraine and Russia are the ones that are getting and losing. Okay,
Right.
We're not getting anything.
So I'm saying, name something that we, the United States, and or Zelensky have gotten so far.
Oh, the end of killing, the end of death in the war. That's a big thing.
I don't see an end to death. As a matter of fact, weren't they firing this morning?
No, but they haven't signed the peace treaty yet.
So we haven't gotten that.
Well, of course not, Steve. Where's the Bennett summit with the three of them?
But I asked you, I didn't ask you what we have.
We got the summit on Friday, and Trump and Putin got some terms together. And today we've got the big meeting with Trump, with Zelensky, and the European allies. And the White House is saying they want to have the third meeting, which is Trump, Putin, and Zelensky, as early as Friday to sign the final peace treaty to end the war.
Well, want to have is not a fait accompli. I can tell you easily what we want to have, but I don't see that we have anything.
Well, it's a process that's ongoing. We're in the middle of it. We're in phase 2 of the process.
Well, I hope you're right. I mean, I have great faith in Donald Trump. I think there's nobody I'd rather have representing us. I mean, Donald can't do it, no one can.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of these things are not within his control.
Well, he doesn't control Putin and Zelensky,
Well, that's my point.
But he, Putin wants to end the war. And he said, well, they want to keep the Donbass region, and
well, I mean, that's a good example. That's not going to happen.
Well, then the killing will continue. What's Trump supposed to do? If Zelensky is going to, let's face it, Zelensky doesn't want the war to end because they have to have an election. He's a dictator who's in power beyond his term, okay? And as soon as the war's over, that will trigger a Ukrainian presidential election, and Zelensky doesn't want that. Okay, so he very well may sabotage it. Okay, Zelensky could sabotage it. Yeah, but who cares?
So where's the good news in that?
Because President Trump has gotten Putin to agree to end the war based on some conditions that they're negotiating. That's a good thing, Steve.
I will eat my proverbial hat if Zelensky agrees to give up the territory you mentioned, the Donbass. He's not going to do it. I mean, and Zelensky is out of control. He showed that last time.
They're out of fighters. They're drafting senior citizens in the Ukrainian army right now, and children. That's the end of the pool. I mean, they're running out of people to fight.
I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but I look around to see what we got, and then we haven't gotten anything.
Well, President Trump said...
Trump initially, before the last meeting, said, before we get together, we insisted on a sit-down with Zelensky, first. Right?
Oh, he already sat down with Zelensky. He was sitting down. This is what Trump said.
But I'm talking about that they were going to sit down together.
Did you watch on Friday? Did you watch the Brett Baer interview with Trump on Air Force One?
Yes.
Okay. President Trump told Brett Baer that if he's not serious about peace, he says, I'll either have a press event by myself or just leave. Okay?
Right.
So he came.
Which occurred?
He came out with Putin, which means they had a framework. They had something, or he wouldn't have come out with Putin.
Well, no, he was supposed to have a joint news conference.
That was a news conference. That was a news conference.
With no questions?
What, from these low-life scumbuckets in the media? That's right, no questions.
Whoa, but it's not a news conference.
Sure.
Trump said he wasn't going to sit down with him unless...
And he did. The fact that he came out after with Putin and they made statements shows that there was serious talk of peace.
Well, it's interesting going back and forth with you, but I would really like to hear what the audience thinks on this. I mean, crying out loud, if I'm being overly negative, I want...
you sound like the liberals that we've heard from today so far are very upset at the idea that a war would end and the killing would stop. They're just flipped out over that.
You know? Well, they're nuts. They're liberals.
Yeah.
I'm not a liberal. I'd like to see peace.
Yeah, and the conservatives agree with me. I'll open up the phones. Our number's 888-465-2631. We'll take some calls after the top of the hour. But either side that you're on, you're welcome to call in. So that's the first sign that Trump's got a deal, because he came out with Putin afterwards. Then they released some things over the weekend that were some of the conditions. And then today is a full day affair of President Trump having the press conferences with Zelensky and the European leaders. Let me go through the schedule real quick, okay? This is today.
Go ahead.
At noon, the European leaders are arriving, and these are all the heavy hitters, right? At 1, the president is meeting with Zelensky. At 1:15, okay, this is when it starts to get really good. So basically, whatever plans, I know you and I are meeting today. We're going to have to do that quick, Steve, because we don't want to miss any of this live, okay? We're meeting later on this morning. We got to get that done quick because we don't want to miss any of this. At 1:15, the president is having a Oval Office meeting with his staff, which includes J.D. Vance, Zelensky, and this is open to the press. So we're going to get a bit of a Oval Office press conference at 1:15 today with Zelensky and Trump. That's at 1:15. Okay? At 2:15, the president meets with the European leaders. That's closed to the press. Okay? And then there's a photo opportunity with Trump and the European leaders' families. Then at 3 p.m., the president will have a multilateral meeting with the European leaders in the East Room, and the White House press will be there too. So at 1:15, Trump has that Oval Office press event with Zelensky. There'll be questions. That'll be a press conference. Then at 3 p.m. this afternoon, he's going to be with Zelensky and the European leaders. Well, I'm not sure if Zelensky's going to be there, but the European leaders will be there, which is the Prime Minister of the UK, of Italy, the President of France, all the heavy hitters. The EU representatives will be there. That's going to be a press conference. These are all big events around the peace agreement that Trump is working out.
If they happen, just remember what happened the last time, that there was going to be a meeting between the three of these guys, and remember what Zelensky did.
Yeah, he acted like an idiot. He acted like an idiot.
I don't think so. Yes, exactly. He's not a stable person.
That's true. He's not. Yeah, then maybe he shouldn't be the president of Ukraine then, if he's not stable.
Well, that could happen too.
Yeah, but yeah. So today, Trump, whatever you or I think, President Trump is planning on having a peace agreement done this week. That's why he's going through all this and the way he's going through it. And the White House released a statement yesterday that they would like to have the final meeting with Zelensky, Trump, and Putin as early as Friday to sign the final deal. So President Trump thinks they got a peace deal, and he knows what's going on more than any of us do.
I don't think you can take it. And again, I think as politicians go, there's no question that Trump is the most honest politician I've ever seen. So what I'm saying is not in disrespect to his honesty, but I just don't see him able to pull this off with either of these guys.
Well, listen, I want to ask you guys.
Let me just ask you a quick question. Yes or no?
Quick.
What concessions has has the president gotten from the Russian premier so far?
I'll tell you after the break. But first, I want to ask you
that
guys
sounds
in
good.
the audience this question. Are you in pain? Maybe you're doing a little more over the weekend, right? Cleaning out the garage, working around the house, playing pickleball or golf, and you woke up on this Monday morning and you're in pain. Go see Dr. Appleton. Go see him today. Remember, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome. You okay, Steve? I'm in the middle of
What's up?
I'm in the middle of a spot. I'm hearing like a propeller. Remember, with Dr. Appleton, appointments are not necessary and walk-ins are welcome. So if you're waking up in pain today from being active over the weekend, go see Dr. Appleton. Take advantage of his laser away pain treatment. It works. He's rid me of pain 7 times. Here's his number, 954-973-0710, 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. All right. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. Our number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after our top of the hour break. Don't go anywhere. All right, we'll be back in 1 minute, Steve.
Okay. Am I on or off the air?
You're on.
Right now?
You're on. You're on. You're on the air, so hold on. All right, the third hour has begun. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Steve Kane's here. I'm Brian. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We're talking about VE Day, victory in Europe, that President Trump's bringing. Okay, so President Trump released a statement on Truth Social about Zelensky. Okay, so let me read it to you, Steve. And by the way, I want to hear from you guys in the audience on whichever side you're on this. I think the war's all but over. And based on what President Trump says, it's all up to Zelensky at this point, okay? Are you back with us, Steve?
I'm back.
Okay, I thought I lost you. This is what President Trump said. This is on Truth Social. Okay, and this was last night at 9:17 p.m. President Zelensky of Ukraine can end the war with Russia almost immediately if he wants to, or he can continue to fight. Remember how it started. No getting back Obama-given Crimea. All right, Russia's had Crimea for 12 years, so he's not going to get Crimea back. And no going into NATO by Ukraine. Some things never change. So that's it. No Crimea, no NATO, and Russia gets Donbass. Does that sound unreasonable, or does that sound? I think Putin's...
It sounds reasonable to me because I'm a reasonable person. But Zelensky's never going to go for that. Never. Just not going to. They couldn't even hold it together long enough to have a press conference at the end of the goings-on over the weekend.
Trump never intended on allowing the press to ask questions.
It was supposed to be a press conference.
No, it was a press event. It was a press briefing. There was no way Trump was going to let Putin.
They were supposed to both be there.
They were there. They both were there. Putin spoke first, then Trump. They were both there. They just didn't take questions from the fake news.
All right. Okay. You're contending that after the goings-on what was it, Friday?
Friday.
Friday. You're contending that they met the press after the...
They did. They came out on stage and both made statements, and then they left to the press. Putin spoke first. They didn't take questions.
I didn't see Zelensky there.
Well, it was this Putin-Trump summit. That was part one.
Okay.
You know, and why should they have taken questions? Why should Putin and Trump have taken questions from the press?
Because they said that was supposed to be the format.
No, who says?
That was what they agreed on before.
No, they didn't agree to it. No, that's what the press was hoping. Steve, there was Trump. I don't believe Trump ever intended to take a single question from the media because all they were going to do is bark at Putin, calling him a murderer and a war criminal. And what good is that going to do if you're trying to end the war? He had them there and did the press event because this is history. But no, I don't think President Trump ever planned on taking a single question. And the reason the media were upset is because all of them, when they were flying all the way to Alaska, which is pretty far, they were all thinking, oh, I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be famous. I'm going to ask Putin. I'm going to say, you're a war criminal. You're this, you're that. And they didn't get that chance. They'd been practicing and rehearsing it and crafting the moment. It didn't happen. But that was a press event. They just didn't take questions. Do you think it was a good idea to not take questions?
It was not scheduled to go as it went. I'd like to hear what the audience has to say.
All right. Well, I'll see if they have questions for us.
It ended in a disappointing way.
For who?
I see. That's my opinion.
For who?
For
Steve?
who?
Yeah. Who was it?
Trump.
Oh, no. You think Trump was not happy at the end?
No, I think he was furious.
Why?
Because it fell apart at the end.
What fell apart? What happened that makes you say it fell apart? I'm missing this. I thought it went perfect.
Go to the phone. Go to the phone.
All right, hold on. Let me put some of these people on hold. Okay, all right. Our number is 888-465-2631. I think the summit in Alaska went perfectly as planned by the president. Let's see what you guys think.
Well,
hold on, let's go.
Throw out that question because it's nice and clear and simple.
Okay.
I don't think it went as. I think it was a disappointment.
Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Milo, Cuyahoga Falls.
Okay.
Hey, Milo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey,
yes.
Okay, so I still feel like there's stuff that Putin has to agree to also. I mean, I agree. I don't see...
Well, what about the question of Friday when they met at that summit? Do you think that was a success?
No, I think they... No, not at all. For either side. I think
Explain that to Brian. Talk to Brian.
All right. First of all, Lavrov showed up wearing a CCCP sweatshirt.
So what?
Putin has no desire to give up anything because he has to keep going forward.
No, that's not what he told
doesn't
Trump.
want a ceasefire.
Hold on a second.
No,
What's the
what
problem? What's the problem with the CCCP shirt? What's the
That's trolling Trump, saying we want the Baltics. I mean, we want Ukraine. I mean, that means saying we're not stopping. That means
That's
we're
not what it
teamed
says.
up with
It
China.
says USSR in Russian.
Yeah, that's the Soviet Union. And what land did they possess during the Soviet Union? They possessed Ukraine. They possessed the Baltic, Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia. I mean,
but he laid out terms to Trump, right? They keep Crimea,
Okay,
no
and
NATO.
yeah.
And they keep Donbass,
Yeah.
they keep Crimea,
Okay,
and no NATO for
Hold on,
Ukraine.
Explain to Brian why.
No,
why
hold
Brian's meeting was a
on one
failure.
second. But hold on 1 second though. But Putin has to agree to military or what do you call it? You know the term.
Ceasefire? Ceasefire?
No, guarantees. Military guarantee or protection guarantees. He has to agree that NATO and will have troops in the Ukraine, right?
Well,
he also said that he has to agree.
Cast your mind back to Friday, okay? Do you think that
Well,
was
no,
a
but this is
successful
exactly.
meeting?
I'm talking about what Rubio talked about. Rubio said these things that are not agreed
I'm
upon
not
yet.
talking about Rubio, sir. I'm not talking about Rubio.
I got you.
The big event that we were all waiting for Friday, where the two big leaders were supposed to get together.
Well, no, they. Yeah,
Well, you
they
think that
didn't
was a
have
success?
the dinner. They didn't. No, not at all. Or either it's not a failure. It's not a success. It's
Then why? Okay,
do
then
anything he
That's
possibly
what I've been
can.
saying. So
Well, then
that's what I've
then
been
maybe
saying.
you guys can explain to me. Hold on, caller. Then explain to me
Yeah.
why Trump is bringing all the European leaders, our allies, and Zelensky to the White House today. If it was a failure and they got nothing.
He's trying to make the best of a bad situation.
He's
And he's
going to
hoping
tell
it'll
them, look,
work, but
he's telling them how much he's going to
50-50.
support well, he's going to tell them what he's going to do if Putin decides that he doesn't want a ceasefire, and if Zelensky doesn't want a ceasefire, because he's made it, apparent that it's up to them.
Right,
he's telling them what military, what
Caller,
guarantees.
Trump. I just read before you were on the air. President Trump said it's up to it's the ball's in Zelensky's court. No Crimea, no NATO.
But I guess he said that part, but Putin also has to agree to the terms on going the other way. He has to give up land between Crimea and the Donbass. That's the Zaporizhia and all that stuff. He's going to have to give that up.
All right. Yeah, these places that nobody can find on a map, they're so concerned about. But Marco.
Well, I can tell you they are concerned about it. This is a key strategic area.
Listen, here's the deal, okay? Russia and Ukraine will always be in conflict, okay? It'll be like the Israelis with the Palestinians. There'll be moments of peace, but there's always going to be skirmishes and problems and this and that, and things will heat up here and there from time to time. But what'll end is the all-out war that's going on, this total war state that they're in. They're never going to get along. It's always going to be a conflict, right? So, you got to accept that. There's no scenario where they get along forever and ever in the future, right? I mean, it's just like with the Palestinians and the Israelis. There's no peace agreement that's going to end hostilities there forever. There's always going to be problems. So I don't.
Thank you for your call, sir.
No, I let him go. So I don't understand what standard you guys have here. I don't know. It seems like that Trump and myself were the only ones that want the war to end. I don't think Trump would have the European leaders coming to the White House if he didn't think peace was. He would just say it's not going to happen. Now I want to tell you guys about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. Oh man, this is amazing. I'm hearing from so many of our listeners from all over America that have called Coastal Weight Loss Secret, and they have lost all kinds of weight. And everybody has different goals. Some people want to lose 20 pounds. Some want to lose 320 pounds or even more, or anywhere in between. No matter how much or how little you want to lose, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help. And remember, there's no prescription medications, no pills, no shots. I hear a lot of people losing weight through injections. Who wants to do that? Ugh, I'm not going to go around and get injections to lose weight. Just call Coastal Weight Loss Secret. There's no prescription medications. There's no shots, no injections. You don't have to starve yourself, and you don't have to exercise day and night. And now that I'm in the maintain phase, it's easy. In fact, a couple weeks ago, I said, you know what? I want to lose a few more pounds. And I did, just like that. Give them a call. The number is 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. We'll be right back. All right, we'll be back in just a few seconds. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve's here. If you'd like to call in, our number's toll free. Yeah, 888-465-2631. Yeah.
Can I ask a question to kick that off this segment? My understanding on Friday, cast your minds back to Friday, that one of the conditions for a second meeting, according to Trump, was a ceasefire.
No.
He said, if we don't get a ceasefire, I'm out of here.
No. I didn't
hear that. You don't remember that?
No. No, in fact, I heard him say after, He made a big point of this. No, I did not hear him say that. If he did, I missed it. But
Well,
he said...
would you agree, if he said it, would you agree he didn't get it?
Well, there was no... President Trump said after, ceasefires don't last, they're a waste of time.
Well, that was after it fell through.
And he said, no, in fact, now that you bring up, if I remember correct, yeah, okay. In the Bret Baier interview on Air Force One, he said, we don't expect a ceasefire. Everyone has told me there'll be no ceasefire on the first meeting. It wouldn't be until at least the second. So he was not expecting a ceasefire. No, he told Bret Baier, he said he'd like to have a ceasefire. He doesn't expect it. And everyone says no ceasefire.
I'd be very interested to see if others out there have the same impression that I did. But I was under the impression that Trump set it up that a ceasefire was required before a second meeting.
He told Bret Baier, I would like a ceasefire.
I'm not talking about Bret Baier. I'm talking about what he announced publicly.
Bret Baier interviewed him on his way to Alaska.
This was not in the Bret Baier interview.
Yes, it was. No, he talked about the ceasefire in the interview. In the Bret Baier interview, which was on the way to Alaska, that aired before the event. Okay? It aired before the event. Trump said, everyone says no ceasefire on the first meeting. Not until the second meeting can we expect a ceasefire. I heard him say it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. He said, I'd like to have it, but I'm not expecting it. I heard him tell that to Bret Baier before the meeting. All right, let's go back to the phones. All right, you're on the air. You're on the air. What's your name? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Jay from Jersey.
Oh, hey, Jay.
Well, I know that nice meeting that happened in Russia. I could have swore before the meeting, he said there were going to be sanctions if he didn't get a deal. Now he's taken the deal off the table and he's taken the sanctions off the table, and nothing came about the meeting but a photo op.
Okay, let me ask you this, Jay. What is it?
Jay, your perception is mine, Jay.
Then you need to question your reality, Steve. If you and this guy have the same perception, Jay from Jersey, what is your end game? What do you want to see happen in this war?
I want Russia to go back home, get his people out of them people's country, and get back where he belongs and leave them people alone and stop the war. That's what I would like to see. Look at all the people that had to die and leave their home and all the kids.
Well, that's not realistic. That's not realistic. So,
well, guess what? Russia did it.
But that's not real. Okay, so you want the war to last forever?
No, I want it to stop.
Well, it's not.
We want it to stop.
But you're setting up
Russia is taking. He's taking a country that's not his. He's not supposed to do it.
You are. Hold on a second. Hold on a second here.
Yeah, why do you think? Listen to this. Why do you think all those countries are showing up at the White House today? Because they want the same thing. Tell Russia to get back over to Russia.
But that's not going to happen. That's not realistic. So what do you think is realistic?
Russia,
what would you settle for realistically?
Putin, let me tell you something. Putin used the heck out of Trump the other day because he knew he came
here
hold on a second. Wasn't going to give up
Jay, calm down. Take a chill pill, okay? What is a realistic end in your mind that you would be happy with? Because that's not realistic.
Realistic is he gets his butt back where he is.
No, that's not going to happen.
Why should Ukraine have to give up any of their country to him?
Well, then it's going to be endless war.
Well, no, I don't want it to be an endless war.
Well, there's been endless war there for centuries.
No, this is like total war they're in right now, which is in a.
Well, you know what really needs? Listen, let me tell you. Let me just say this. You know what really needs to happen if this doesn't happen? All the other countries need to give Ukraine the weapons to fight back against Russia, and I guarantee you, he'd take us behind.
You know,
back
Russia
home.
has more nuclear weapons than we have. They're the second most powerful military in the world.
I didn't say nuclear. I didn't say nuclear.
Well, wait a minute. But this is what you're asking. You want all of the other nations to gang up and start fighting Russia by giving, through Ukraine. They're the second most powerful. They're the second most powerful military in the world. So basically, you want the third.
Why can't, if they're the second most powerful military in the world, why can't they beat a little country called Ukraine? Think about it.
They are winning. They're getting senior citizens.
No,
All right, appreciate the call. Appreciate the call.
Years.
Appreciate the call, Jay. I mean, that's pretty scary. I mean, he wants World War III to happen, Steve.
What's scary is I agree with Jay from Jersey. That's scary to me.
Well, then, how do you process that? If I'm agreeing with Jay from Jersey, I got to question myself. If I were agreeing with him.
Well, again, that's part of the problem. I mean, you've got two. You've got with Zelensky and with Putin, you got two irrational players, and you're trying to play a rational game.
There's no scenario where Russia pulls completely out of Ukraine. There's no scenario. That's it. None. They're going to hold on to some of that territory. That's just the way it is. I mean, come on.
And I say there's no way that Putin agrees to pulling out.
Yeah, probably. All right, now let me answer some of these calls. All right. Let's see
Which means that this thing is a bust.
I have lost track of who called in what order. So if you've been on hold a long time and you're not the caller that I get, bear with me. Okay, I've lost track of who called, who, what, when, and what. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Dennis, Palm Beach Gardens.
Hey, Dennis.
I want to congratulate Steve for finally a MAGA person who thinks for himself and doesn't just follow Trump's crap.
I got another liberal agreeing with you, Steve.
He's right.
As far as what you said about a realistic ending would be Ukraine to give up half the territory and get some kind of guarantees. But in order to get there, we have to have a president who sticks to his word. And he originally said that he would put the severest of sanctions on Russia. And Trump has the power to bring Russia to its knees economically, but he's got some kind of a thing with Putin where he just loves the man. And I was
don't say that. Yeah, I mean, the final chapter on this has not, and I appreciate your support, by the way, but the final chapter on this has not been written. In the bottom line, I think that the president is going to issue those sanctions.
If he has to. Yeah.
Well, I hope he does, because he has the power to really bring Trump to his knees. And I thought the 100% tariff he put on India, if they continue buying Russia oil, was one of the best things he's ever done. But one of the worst things he ever did was roll out the red carpet for a man who's killed hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, greet him like he's a hero, shake his hand, put him in his car with the beast. Putin should have been met by nobody. He should have taken an Uber to the meeting and an Uber back to the airport.
Oh my goodness! You're building up an alliance of liberal lunatics, Steve, here on the phones today. Jay from Jersey. Now this guy, President Trump. Hey, hold on, caller. Hold on. President Trump had.
I'm going to let you go.
No, I want to talk to you for a second. President Trump brought Putin to a military base on the runway. Wasn't just red carpet. Was our most advanced fighter jets. I'd never seen them before. And then he had the stealth bombers fly over. And the show of force was pretty impressive. And that
was the high point. It was downhill after that.
Oh, it was all uphill.
What wasn't impressive was the red carpet and how he greeted him and how he treated him.
He's a head of state. What are you supposed to do?
The man's a murderer. He's one of the worst murderers in the history of the world.
What, really?
He's as bad
really?
as
How many people have you liberals murdered with your abortion?
I'm not a liberal, first of all. I'm a Republican, but I'm a Republican who can think for himself.
Oh, okay. So a Republican that hates. You're a never Trumper. You might as well be a liberal. You might as well be a liberal.
I think Trump could be one of the greatest presidents in the history of our country if he would act like a statesman and gentleman.
Let me ask you: if President Bush were to meet with Trump, should the red carpet be laid out for him?
If President Bush, well, I'm not a big fan of Bush.
Well, wait a minute. Should the red carpet go out for George W. Bush or not if he comes to an event?
Well,
you know where I'm going, don't you? You know where I'm going.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I'm wishy-washy on that.
Yeah, yeah, you're wishy-washy.
But-
Yeah, I'm wishy-washy from the
But
beginning. All right,
we-
appreciate the call. All right, let me put everybody on hold, and we'll take our bottom of the hour break and be right back. All right, Steve, we got about a minute.
I'm ready.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve Kane's here. Steve Kane Show. If you're on hold, stand by. So far, Steve, you've got a liberal, Jay from Jersey, who agrees with you. The last caller's a Republican that hates Republicans agreeing with you.
You're stereotyping. Look, the point I want to make is this, because we have this same issue all the time, which I think is okay, because I think it's under discussed. All right? The fact is, you and others that support the president make a mistake of thinking that you have to support him 1,000% on everything. No one cares for the president or is more invested in emotionally in his being a success than I do. No one. But that doesn't mean when I saw what happened at the Friday meeting, the president was furious when this thing happened. And then what they were doing is scrambling to make the best of a bad situation. He didn't say he did the wrong thing. He did the only thing he could do. He had to back off because he had made the statement that he demanded that there be a ceasefire as a prerequisite to having the next meeting, and he couldn't pull it off.
I heard him say the opposite of that. I heard him say the opposite of that to Bret Baier on the way to the meeting.
But that's what the people are talking about when they criticize your position. They heard what I heard.
Well,
I mean, it was a terrible bust at the end.
Go back at the Bret Baier interview, and hold on. Let me answer some of these phones. Okay, the Bret Baier interview was on the way to Alaska. All right, you with me, Steve, or I lose you? No, I lost Steve. Hold on. Are you back with us, Steve?
Did you just connect?
No, I got you.
Hear me?
I can hear you. You want to take some calls?
Yes.
All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. IB. How are you?
All right.
Hey, Ivy.
Hey, Steve. Steve, you got to keep it in sequence. When Trump had the interview with Bret Baier, he said that there was no ceasefire already on the table because he got to have everybody in the White House, all of the dignitaries from around the world coming in. He's forcing their hand through sanctions if they continue to buy oil from Putin. That's his leverage while they're in the White House to have this meeting. He needs the meeting to determine if there will be a ceasefire or a deal. We don't know if Zelensky is going to follow through with whatever that agreement was to get him on the plane to the White House.
Well, that's another problem, but that's today's problem.
Will he keep his
We still
promise,
don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I for one, think that Putin's not going to agree to anything that involves giving up the Donbass area. I just don't believe it.
It's too late for that because Biden pushed this war. They poked the bear, and they talked about Putin forever. This man was trying to be a moderate, but now he's in a position to show the world that he can be reasonable and actually work with you.
Good points, IB. Good points. When you hold on, Steve, let me put everybody on. The phones are blowing up here. When did you hear Trump say that he demanded a ceasefire?
That was the whole premise of the meeting. He says, I'm not going to get together with everybody unless there is a ceasefire.
This is such a bizarre thing.
His demand. It was his demand going into the Friday meeting. It was his demand for his presence.
I heard him
say, unless there's going to be a ceasefire, we're not going to. It's not going to be a three-way.
I heard him say the exact opposite on the way to the meeting. The exact opposite on Air Force One. This is the Mandela effect we're experiencing right now. Those of you that know about the Mandela effect. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Eugene from Hawaii.
Hey, Hawaii.
Okay, I've been listening to all this broker between Ukraine and Russia. Russia is not going to give up the territory that it is occupying and captured, and Ukraine will have to agree with Russia for peace. And I say that because Russia is using the captured territory as a buffer zone in case Ukraine wants to go and unite as a NATO member.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my thought is that if anybody knows history, the Monroe Doctrine says no superpower will be in my backyard. And Russia is saying the same thing and needs a guarantee NATO, United States, will not be in its backyard.
Yeah, and President Trump said President Trump said yesterday, no NATO for Ukraine. That's part of the deal. No NATO for Ukraine. That's part of the deal.
Yeah, exactly. So these quarterbacks, backyard chair quarterback, knocked it off and let Trump do his job.
Yes. All right, from
That's
Hawaii.
all I gotta say.
All right, appreciate the call. Good. Wise man from Hawaii. Wise man. All right. Okay. I heard somebody, I don't know if you heard it, Steve, but the caller from Hawaii, I heard somebody in the background said, get off the phone. Did you guys hear that in the background? I don't know if you guys heard that. I heard it. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. How you doing, Brian and Craig and Steve? I'm sorry. I called in to say, this is Maria from Florida. Good morning. I call in this show, I heard this same thing that everybody was that's talking about, and I'm going to say this. President Trump never said it was going to be a ceasefire. He never said that. He just was talking about ways that he can try to come to a solution to get these two leaders together. This has been talked about for months now. Not actually a ceasefire. I don't know what happened. I don't know where all that information comes from. I'm only being honest about it. I don't know, but I heard it from the media talking about Trump said a ceasefire. Trump never said a ceasefire. He never said that. He said because with Russia, ceasefire would not work with him.
I heard him say, he said on Air Force One, on the way there, on the way to Alaska, he said, I'd like a ceasefire, but it's not realistic.
Yeah.
Everybody says it won't happen until after the second meeting. That's what he said to Brett Baer. And that was before the meeting. That's what I heard. But Steve heard something different. So you know, I don't know. Maybe I didn't hear him say what Steve heard, but you know, I don't know. Mandela effect. Anybody know what the Mandela effect is? That's what's going on here.
I really don't know. The only thing I know is what I heard from the media said it. I didn't never hear that from Trump. Maybe I will get you. Now, Steve, what do you think about that? Did you hear Trump say that, or did you hear someone in the media say it?
I don't know. I didn't watch everything that went on the plane.
Yeah.
But I know that it was the major issue.
Well,
to get Trump involved, they needed to have a ceasefire.
Well, the media.
And then then Putin backed off it at the end.
The media went in sabotage mode when they didn't get their questions in after. They were freaking out. They were totally freaking out.
Embarrassing moment. Because it was set up to be a press conference.
I don't think Trump ever intended to take a single question, ever, at any point, even before he got there.
Well, they expected to have better news coming out of this meeting with Putin.
And if there was any chance of them getting questions, the media messed it up when they did the photo op where they were sitting down before the meeting and the press were screaming at him. And Putin said enough. And then Trump said to Putin, well, now you see what I got to go through all the time. All right, let's take some calls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Scott. I'm from Kansas City, and I'm kind of a frequent caller, but I've got to talk. I've got to bring up something here.
Go, sir.
Something important. Yes, sir. I heard the previous caller. I don't want to talk too much about him, but he's a lot like many, and this has gone on for a few years now, many people who have concerns about this country over in Europe, Ukraine. Ukraine has taken it hard from Russia. What Stalin did to Ukraine before the Second World War, oh my God, we're not going to go into it. But I didn't hear the passion from people when Putin invaded Georgia and took the region of Ossetia. I never heard it. I never heard it from when the Crimea was invaded. I never heard it when that was under the Obama administration. Surely, yes, there's this horrible conflict going on, but it was going on. It's been going on in the Donbass since the fall of the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And the Crimea has been fought over for 5 times now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just wonder, and is how people can have this selective passion. Some days sometimes they have it over something, and then sometimes they have it over something else. It just boggles my mind.
Well, see, this war happened as a direct result of Biden. Biden is responsible for this war and all this death, okay? Because he kept trying to get Ukraine into NATO, and that's why Putin did it. So, but they want the media, the left, the never Trumpers, and all that. They want to pin this on Trump. So they want to portray that this is all a failure, so it can be on Trump. They want a Trump failure. That's why.
And he's not ever going to get the Nobel Peace Prize, even though he's done a lot of that hard work.
Yeah.
Even though Obama just showed up and he got it.
That's true. He got it before he took the oath. They appreciate the call. Yeah, good call, good point. Let's take one more before the break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing, Brian? This is Angela Santonian. How you doing, Steve?
Good.
One thing I want to How you doing? I wanted to say that I think that Steve is wrong when he said that Trump wanted a ceasefire. He did not want peace. Trump wanted peace. He wanted peace. He did not want a ceasefire. He wanted peace. That's all he talked about. And even Jake Tapper talked to Pence, and Pence said he agrees with Trump. A ceasefire, when it did, was not going to do anything. He wants peace, and he said, I agree with Trump. I'm going cold-heartedly along with Trump. Trump never said he wanted a peace fight. He always said, I want peace. Forget the peace fire. I want peace.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
I agree with you, Brian. That's what he talked about.
That's right. But the media have been portraying this as a failure all weekend and have been talking about a ceasefire. See, Trump said over the weekend a ceasefire is setting up for failure because they never last. So if there was a ceasefire, then a couple guys shoot off some pistols, then all of a sudden, we got the war back on.
Yeah, that's what it said. And just like Jake Tapper, dumbass, was talking to Pence, and Jake Tapper tried to get Pence to stick to it, saying peace, a ceasefire. But like I said, Pence said, no, I'm along with Trump on this. He wants peace. Total peace.
Well, I got to tell you, when Pence comes on, I tune out. I can't listen to that guy. So I missed all that, but I'll take your word for it.
But you're right about it, Brian. You're right about it.
All right. Appreciate the call. Take care. All right, Steve. I'm going to put you on hold. We'll take our last break for the Gold Report and be back. Hey, it's Brian. Hold on. All right, Steve, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we got 1 minute. We'll have William. All right, William, we have less than 30 seconds. We'll be back.
Okay.
All right, and we're back. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with our first look at the gold and precious metals markets for the week. William Youngerman, how are the metals starting the week off?
The metals are starting up nicely up today after Friday's close, mostly down. Gold traded Friday $3,330 on the low to $3,350 on the high and closed out the week at $3,334, which was down just 40 cents. Silver closed out the week unchanged at $37.93 the ounce, while platinum was down $22 on Friday at $1,336, and palladium was down $32 at $1,112. This morning, we see gold trading in a range of $3,322 on the low, all the way up to $3,359 so far. Right now, we're at $3,347. That's up $13. Silver is up 27 cents at $38.20 the ounce. Platinum is unchanged at $1,336. And palladium is up $8 at $1,120. So the markets continue to be in these trading ranges that we've seen all summer. Gold just basically $100 off of its all-time record high.
Wow.
And trading still very firmly above $3,300 the ounce. So,
wow. That's amazing. I mean, that's $100 from the all-time high. Like, that's in the history of the 5,000-year history of gold. Listen, William Youngman opens up at 10 a.m. You could stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. The number is where you can do all your transactions over the phone and through the mail, or get any questions you have answered, is 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010, and find both William Youngerman's address and phone number on his website, williamyoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. All right, you back with us, Steve?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, I don't think we disagree too much. I think we're in the same place. We're just, I think where our disagreement is at what stage in the process are we in, and how realistic is some agreement. And I just, following Trump over the years, I just don't see Trump bringing all these people to the White House to not have a deal pretty much locked up. Because after he met with Putin, he had to call up and talk to Zelensky. They've had the talk. And bringing the European leaders in is to get them all to sign off on whatever. Why would he bring them all there if he didn't think he had it wrapped up? Because isn't he setting himself up to look like a failure, Steve? I just...
Well, what were his options?
He could have just handled everything over the phone with these leaders and say, that's it. Putin's not budging. Zelensky's not budging. I've done what I can do, and it's up to them to work it out now.
Well,
and then wash his hands of it.
I'm afraid what is going to happen is just what you outlined after the next meeting, today's meeting.
Yeah. Oh, so you think that after today, nothing's going to happen, it's going to be over, and Trump will say, I've done what I can.
The bottom line is, as great as Trump is, he is not, the situation is such that he does not have total control of the situation. And he understands that. And that's why while he's trying to negotiate a decent peace that'll hold up, he's also at the same time setting things up so that he can get off the hook if it's necessary at the end.
See, the media are trying, this is why they didn't take questions, in my view, Friday. The media are trying to craft this narrative that he's making a Neville Chamberlain deal here, right? And
he's making
a Neville Chamberlain piece, I've got the papers signed by Chancellor Hitler. We'll have peace in our time. They're trying to portray him like that. To look like...
No, he's not like that.
Well, that's what the media...
Realistic.
That's what the media are trying to do. They're trying to make him look like that.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, I agree. Yeah, I think you and I think the disagreement we have mainly is at what point in the process. And you think that there's no hope. Trump knows there's no hope.
I didn't say that. I'm afraid that the options are not necessarily all favorable. I'm not sure. The bottom line is, what I'm trying to say is Trump is not 100% in control of the situation.
Yeah.
That's just in terms of how the thing is set up now.
Yeah.
He can make a lot of good moves, but he doesn't have the final power.
Well, yeah, because it's up to Ukraine and Russia. It's not our war.
Yes,
we're not.
That's correct.
Yeah, that's true.
And he realizes that, and as interested as he is in brokering a peace between the two of them, he's also looking for a situation for a graceful out if necessary.
Well, see, here's another thing with Putin, all right? Putin has been running Russia since Clinton was president. So he kind of views himself like, the kings and the queens do, that he goes from president to president. So could you, to avoid these economic sanctions, could you not see Putin agreeing and signing everything and saying, you know what, down the road, when Trump's not the president, I'll make my move and take it?
I would say the answer to your question is I see it, it's at best a 50-50 proposition.
Yeah. Now, there is an article here on Fox, okay? Let me read this to you. This is Fox News this morning. Russian leader Vladimir Putin has proposed for Moscow to take full control of the Donbass region and freeze the front lines elsewhere in exchange for ending the war with Ukraine. A European diplomat has told this to Fox News. That's pretty much what we've been thinking.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to find out soon because
I don't see Putin agreeing. I mean, of course, Putin has a history of agreeing to a lot of things, and then when push comes to shove, reversing himself.
Well, listen, today is a day of where we're going to find out everything because starting at 11 is when the meetings happen at the White House, right? Trump and the European leaders and Zelensky. And then the big one, there's let me go over the schedule again because there's two big things. Hold on, let me pull this up because I went over it with you about an hour ago. But I want to go over it again. Oh, I can't find it now. Gosh darn it. I'll try to find it before we go off the air. But it's an all-day event. Okay, here it is. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Everything starts at noon at the White House today, okay? And a lot of it's ceremonial. But at 1:15, the president will have a bilateral meeting with Zelensky in the Oval Office with the White House press pool. So that's going to be the first Q&A. There's no way they're not.
1 o'clock today?
1:15. That's why I said you and I are meeting later this morning. We got to be quick.
Yes. Okay,
because you and I have to watch this live. I can't watch this through the filter of the media telling me what happened. We need to experience it. This is going to be like that meeting where they got into the fight with JD and everything else a couple months ago. It's going to be in the Oval Office. The press will be in there, so they're going to be yelling questions. And there's no way that Trump and Zelensky don't answer. So I'd be surprised. Okay, so that's at 1:15. Then there's a whole bunch of other stuff in between, and then at 3 o'clock, this is the official schedule of the president. The president participates at a multilateral meeting with European leaders in the East Room with the White House press pool. So he's gonna. I don't know if Zelensky's gonna be there.
The way that's written, the answer is no.
That's what it sounds like. Yeah. So this is going to be the UK Prime Minister Macron, the Italian Prime, all the European, the EU representatives, and all that stuff. And so we're going to.
They bill it as a press conference.
These multilateral meetings are what they call those Oval Office events. The reason this is in the East Room is because you got all these other leaders, so there's not enough room in the Oval Office. So, and the press are going to be there, so they're going to be barking questions out too, like in the Oval Office today. So, by the end of, we got the 1:15 thing with Zelensky with the press and Trump and the Oval, and then at 3 we have Trump with the European leaders in the East Room with the press. So by the end of that one, at 3. We're going to know. We'll know a lot at the 1:15 with Zelensky. We'll know a lot there. So today will be the day. And you're right. Trump could say at the end of this guy's not budging. It's up to them to work it out then. They just got to fight it out. That could be the way of it. I could see that. Yeah. But today,
I would say right now that might be the most likely scenario.
Now, I want to talk for a moment about Jupiter Joe Thomas and annuities. One of the annuity options there's all kinds of annuities, which I didn't know. Before I met Joe Thomas, I thought there was just like this one thing. There's all kinds of different types of annuities for all kinds of different situations and everything else, and he'll gladly go over those with you during the no-charge consultation that he offers. But there's one that he told me it just blew my mind, the income doubler. There's one annuity that if you or your spouse, because you and your spouse are both going to be on the annuity, if one of you become ill and disabled, that your monthly income from your annuity is doubled. It's called the income doubler. And let me tell you, at no point in someone's life when there's health issues does extra money not come in handy. And that's just one example of the many different types of annuities there are. That's a pretty amazing thing to have, the income doubler. Give Joe Thomas a call. Now, you can give him a call no matter where you're located in the United States and take advantage of the no-charge consultation, okay? If you're here locally, you can do it in person. But if you're not here locally, you can do it over the phone, and I know a lot of you have. So give him a call. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website. It's easy to remember, JupiterJoe.com. That's JupiterJoe.com. But you know, the problem, like I was talking about how you and I, we have to watch this live and not through the filter of the media. I mean, do you agree that the media don't want the war to end because they hate Trump so much that they want the war to continue? I mean, it's so, they were just fuming over the weekend. In fact, Steve, one of the reasons I think that the meeting with Putin went so well is how outraged the media were at Trump after the meeting. If the meeting was a disaster, wouldn't they be happy, the media? Right?
You know, I'd like to comment on that.
Yeah, we only have 30 seconds.
I have a little bit of a different tilt than you do. I watch all the press conferences.
Me too.
I think the media is starting to like Trump.
Oh my gosh, what are you watching?
I said there's a certain warmth now. They don't have that same hateful edge. I mean, every now and then you may find a little of it with one member or maybe two members, but for the most part, I sense a great affection between the media and
I don't
Trump.
see that at all. Oh my goodness. Well, on that note,
it's interesting to see what other people think about that.
All right, well, we're out of time for today, but we'll be back tomorrow, and whatever happens today...
Maybe we can pick up where we left off.
Oh, yeah, we'll pick up tomorrow with that. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, has been here, and today's the biggest news day in all of the Ukraine war since it began. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Take care. All right, guys. Hey, listen, thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you're already subbed, please like the video and share on your socials. And click that notification bell, okay? Because I plan on coming on live this afternoon for a podcast going over the day's events, okay? So you won't want to miss that. And I do take live calls on that, all right? Take care. Thanks for watching. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk.